Hi there. Welcome to your first intermediate legal English class. Today's lesson is all about professional legal communication, specifically how to introduce yourself in a networking setting. This is something every lawyer needs to do, and we're going to make sure you sound clear, confident, and professional when you do it in English. Let's get started. Today, we'll focus on three main goals. First, use appropriate vocabulary to introduce yourself and talk about your legal work. Second, ask and respond to questions about your role and experience. And third, practice professional conversations for networking. By the end of this lesson, you'll feel more confident introducing yourself and discussing your legal background in English. Let's warm up with something simple. Imagine you've just walked into an event, maybe hosted by your bar association. You're holding a drink, scanning the room. Someone comes up next to you and says, "Hi, I'm Anna. I work in labor law. What about you?" Now, what do you say? So here's a simple structure to help you. You can start with I'm your job, based in your location. Or I work in your practice area, law, mostly handling your responsibilities. This gives people a clear idea of who you are and what you do without too much detail. It's just enough to open the door to a deeper conversation. So before we move on, think for a second. How would you respond to Anna using this structure? Let's try again a little bit later and I'll show you a few examples. Here's a great example of how to introduce yourself. I'm a corporate lawyer based in Colombia. It's short, professional, and tells the listener exactly what you do and where you're based. Think about how you might say something similar. What kind of law do you practice? Where are you located? For example, I practice immigration law. I'm based in Costa Rica. Now let's look at another one. I work in compliance for a fintech company. This is useful because it includes both your legal focus, compliance, and the type of company you work for. When you're networking, giving just a little extra context like this can really help people understand your role. Here's a different kind of introduction. I run my own immigration law practice. This tells us you're self-employed and your area of law. It's clear, confident, and it opens up the door for follow-up questions. So take a moment. How would you describe your role in one sentence? When you're introducing yourself as a lawyer, it's important to be specific about your work. This phrase is very useful. I specialize in. Tells people what your main area of law is. It shows your expertise. For example, I specialize in family law. I'm currently working on. Helps you explain what you're doing right now. You could say, I'm currently working on a real estate development deal. These are clear and professional, perfect for networking. I handle. I handle is a great way to describe your day-to-day responsibilities. It's simple and flexible. You can say, I handle compliance for a logistics firm. I've been working with is perfect for talking about long-term work. For example, I've been working with government clients since 2019. These phrases help you sound experienced and confident, but still natural. Finally, let's talk about location. I'm based in is a common phrase when you're introducing yourself professionally. You might say, I'm based in Lima, but often work remotely. This is especially helpful if you work internationally or collaborate across borders. Simple, clear, and professional. All right, so let's take a moment to check your understanding. You've seen these phrases a few times already. Now let's match them to their meanings. Here are the phrases. I specialize in, I'm currently working on, I handle, I've been working with, I'm based in. And here are the possible meanings. My current case or project. B, my responsibilities. C, my location. D, my legal area. And E, my long-term experience. So take a moment and try to match them. You can pause the video here if you want to think it through. No pressure. All right, let's get into it. Let's go through the answers together. Number one, I specialize in. That's D, my legal area. You use this when you're talking about the area of law you focus on, like family law, real estate law, human rights law. I'm currently working on, this one is A, my current case or project. It's useful when you want to mention something you're doing right now, like a trial or negotiation. I handle. That goes with B, my responsibilities. It describes the kind of tasks or cases you're usually responsible for, like contracts, litigation, client intake. I've been working with. This matches with E, my long-term experience. In my case, I would say, I've been working with asylum seekers for over 7 years. Finally, I'm based in, and this is C, my location. It's a simple way to say where you live and work. These phrases are great for making a small talk sound professional. They're short, clear, and tell people a lot about you without needing a long explanation. We'll keep practicing these, so don't worry if they're not automatic yet. It's your turn to put the phrases into action. Take a look at these 5 sentences on the screen. Each one is missing a key word or phrase we practiced earlier. Let's see how well you can complete them. Number 1, I blank an international arbitration. 2, I'm currently blank a data privacy case. Or 3, I blank commercial contracts and compliance. 4, I've blank NGOs since law school. And last, I'm blank in Mexico City. Pause the video here if you want a moment to think. Try saying your answers out loud. This helps you remember and speak more confidently later. All right, let's go through each one. Number 1, I specialize in international arbitration. This tells someone your specific area of legal focus, a great phrase to use in introductions. I'm currently working on a data privacy case. This is useful when you talk about what's happening in your day-to-day work right now. I handle commercial contracts and compliance. Here, you're talking about your usual job responsibilities, what falls under your role, what you have to do. I've been working with NGOs since law school. This one highlights your long-term experience. Great for building credibility when networking. I'm based in Mexico City. Simple and professional. It lets people know where you work without needing to explain more. If you got this right, great jobs. If not, no worries. We'll keep practicing these throughout the lesson. Repetition is definitely key. Let's start with this sentence. I work as a legal advisor for a real estate firm. This is the present simple, and we use it to talk about what we do right now. So if someone asks you at a networking event what you do, you can simply say, I work in criminal defense, or I work in corporate law. Easy, right? Now, let's take a look at this sentence. I've been working as a legal advisor since 2018. This is present perfect. We use it to talk about how long we've been doing something. So if someone asks, how long have you worked in this field? You might say, I've been working in that area for 6 years. And you can try it with your own job. Let's compare the two side by side first. First, we have the present simple. I work in environmental law. It's short, clear, and tells people what you do now. Next, the present perfect. I've been working in that field since 2020. This adds more detail, how long you've been doing it. And here's the trick. When networking, use both. Start by saying what you do, then add how long. For example, in my case, I work in immigration law. I've been working in that area over the past 8 years. It's natural, it's fluent, and it shows your experience without sounding like a resume or CV. Want to try saying your version? I'll give you a moment. All right, let's cut to the chase. It's time to explore one of the most useful idioms in legal English. You'll hear this phrase a lot in busy legal settings, especially during meetings or calls where everyone's short on time. It means Let's skip the small talk and get right to the important issue. You can use it when you want to move the conversation forward quickly. And here's how it sounds in action. Let's cut to the chase. What does the client actually want? Notice the tone. It's not rude, just direct. In fact, in legal work, being concise and focused is often appreciated. So next time you're in a client meeting or negotiating with another lawyer and things are dragging on, try saying, let's cut to the chase. It's a professional way to take control of the conversation. Just be sure the context is right. Especially in some cultures, indirectness is preferred. So let's try saying it one more time together. Let's cut to the chase. So great. Now keep an ear out for it in your next legal meeting, client meeting, and we're going to go to the next one, which is, that's a gray area. This idiom comes up a lot in legal work because, well, law's not black and white. In many situations, it falls into what we call a gray area, a space where things aren't clearly defined and there may be no specific rule or clear answer. So you might hear a lawyer say, this law is a gray area. There's no clear regulation yet. It's a useful way to explain uncertainty or a legal loophole without sounding unsure of yourself. It signals nuance, that things are open to interpretation. Try using it when you're discussing a legal question that has more than one reasonable answer, or when advising a client when the outcome isn't totally predictable. So let's try saying it. That's a gray area. Let's move on to the next one. Let's talk about the phrase, walking on thin ice. Have you ever had a client who's unhappy, a judge who's impatient, or a project, case where one mistake could blow the whole thing up? That means you're walking on thin ice. This idiom means you're in a risky situation. One wrong step and things could go very badly. It's a vivid, clear way to express caution and alert others that things are fragile. Here's an example. We're walking on thin ice with this client. We can't afford another mistake. This idiom is especially useful if you want to use it with someone in a professional way without sounding too dramatic. Use it to flag risk or when you want to gently suggest, let's be careful here. So let's practice it one more time. We're walking on thin ice. Let's go ahead to the classic one. Very common law. Playing devil's advocate. This idiom is especially relevant in the legal world. To play devil's advocate means to intentionally argue the other side of an issue, even if you don't personally agree, just to test the strength of an argument or uncover weaknesses. For example, he's just playing devil's advocate. He doesn't really disagree. This is a great tool in legal conversations, especially when you're preparing for a trial, writing a memo, or coaching a client. It shows strategic thinking. You're not just defending your own position, you're pressure testing it. So if someone in your legal team starts challenging your idea out of nowhere, don't panic. They might just be playing devil's advocate. Say it with me. She's playing devil's advocate. Perfect. We've got 3 great idioms under our belt. Now, let's talk about a simple way to introduce yourself in a professional setting. It's called the networking formula. This formula helps you quickly communicate who you are, what you do, and what makes you unique, all in 1 or 2 smooth sentences. Here's the structure. Location plus role plus focus area plus experience. So let's break that down. Location, where are you based professionally? Role, what is your current job or title? Focus area, what area of law do you work in? Experience, what's your background or expertise? Here's an example using the formula. I'm based in Lima. I work as a compliance attorney. I specialize in data protection. I've been working with fintech companies for 5 years. That's a clear, confident way to explain your professional profile without overthinking it. It sounds natural and informative, perfect for networking events. Now, try thinking about your own version. Where are you based? What's your role? What area do you focus on? And what's something impressive or unique about your experience? If you want, you can pause the video and write it down. So you've got your formula ready. Practice saying it out loud a couple times. It'll help you sound smooth and prepared when it counts. All right, let's wrap up today's lesson on preparing for networking events. Today, you practice some really useful skills for making a strong first impression in professional settings, especially when English isn't your first language, but you want to sound confident and clear. Let's take a moment to review what we've learned so far. We've learned how to introduce yourself professionally in English with simple, clear sentence structures you can use in any legal sentence, from bar association mixers to international conferences. You practice using key phrases like I handle, I specialize in, and I'm currently working on. These are essential for talking about your role and responsibilities in a way that sounds natural and professional. You've reviewed grammar differences between the present simple and present perfect, so you can talk about your current job and your long-term experience with confidence. And you explored professional idioms that lawyers actually use in conversations, like let's cut to the chase, that's a gray area, and of course, devil's advocate. Guys, before you go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What kind of law do you specialize in? Where are you based? Who do you typically work with? And most importantly, what legal English topics would you like us to cover in future videos? We're building a space for legal professionals across borders, a community where you can learn, connect, and grow your legal English skills together. So please drop a comment below. Your input doesn't just help us, it helps shape the entire conversation and the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.